up on the time of your life. She's the potato chip queen, but Vickie Kerr's a down-to-earth wife and mother first. Miss Vickie's chips are a success now, but things weren't always rosy.
I smashed up my tractor trailer when I was hauling potatoes to Toronto. The house burnt down, and I lost half my crop because of weather all in the same year.
We had nothing. We had what was in I had what was in my car and what Bill had in his pickup truck, and that was all we had.
People who start a business later in life can make wonderful bosses. They've had time to observe the old patterns of the workplace and come up with ways to make working for a living an interesting and rewarding experience instead of a life sentence. In the case of Vickie Kerr, that goes for herself and her husband as much as for the people they hire to help them in their potato chip business. Family and human values come first in this corporation. You might say that both the inspiration and the wherewithal for her own business were right on Vickie Kerr's doorstep, right here in the acres of potatoes that her husband had cultivated for years. Vickie comes from a region near Montreal. She came to Ontario to pursue a career in early childhood education, met Bill and married him in 1974. Bill Kerr is a third-generation farmer, still in New Lowell, where he grew up. For years, he sold his crop to a large commercial potato chip producer. That is until his wife decided junk food might be okay for them as adults, but it wasn't okay for their children.
I love sand.
Bill and I always liked to have a bag of potato chips on a Friday night, and as my young children got older, they wanted to eat what we were eating. And I didn't feel comfortable giving it to them when I read the ingredients on the packages. When I was expecting my children, I did a lot of reading on prenatal nutrition, those kinds of things, and I was amazed at how nutritious potatoes were. I mean, they were one of the first foods that were recommended, mashed up with a little bit of breast milk, as they said in the book, to give to kids when they got to be a year old or so. And so I thought, well, Bill's been growing potatoes for 12 years, and potatoes are nutritious. They're good for you. So maybe I can come up with an idea, some kind of a recipe to make a healthier potato chip that I would feel comfortable for my kids to eat.
This is going to be a surprise. It's going to be a surprise for you guys. You have to tell me which one you like the best.
Okay.
1, 2.
Right here in her kitchen, Vickie did come up with a new chip. Her friends and neighbors encouraged her to market her chips, and her 4 children have always been her chief taste testers.
Some of them have it, there's a heavier amount of spice on the chips than others, so I'm going to get you to taste them.
She is always thinking up new potato chip taste sensations.
You might not be able to compare it until you've had one from a different batch. Well, what do you think?
Too much.
That one is too much? Okay.
This is okay.
That's okay?
Very good, Mom.
You like those ones?
But they're pretty, they're pretty hot. Yeah, they're pretty hot.
Sometimes a taster simply cannot make up his mind.
I'm waiting for you to tell me something about them.
I don't know.
That's okay.
Making a great-tasting chip was just the start. A business had to be created. There were loans to secure and expensive kettles to buy in the States. There was a market to target. Vickie wanted a company built on quality, care, and good relationships. A belief as simple as the ingredients in Miss Vickie's chips.
Peanut oil, it is not high in saturated fats to begin with, but because ours is always pure and we don't hydrogenate it, we don't have the same amounts of saturated fat as you would find in a hydrogenated product. We leave the skins on. Most of the nutrition of the vegetables are just under the skin, and then we slice them a lot thicker than a conventional product. But we hand stir them because we have to. We don't wash the slices, and so each potato slice goes into the kettle and it will stick together unless we really agitate it.
The chips are then sorted by hand, and the sorters are ruthless. Defective chips are removed and recycled as cattle feed. Attention to quality has meant growth for the company, and as they expand, the Kerrs want to preserve what made them a success story.
I think I want to retain the values that we started with, and that was a small company, an operation that the people work for us, they become our friends, that it's not us against you, that it's a family-run operation. And as far as expanding the business, of course everybody wants to expand it, but not to the point where it's out of control and that the quality of the chips or the potatoes suffer.
That's the idea of the franchise, so that the product will be made locally. It will have local people involved. It will have local potatoes being used. So it will contribute locally, to, just the way ours has to our community.
The value of community was pointed out dramatically when their original home was totally destroyed by fire just months before they launched the business. No one was home, fortunately, but all their possessions and all Vickie's research went up in smoke.
1986 is a year that I'll never forget. I smashed up my tractor trailer when I was hauling potatoes to Toronto. The house burnt down, and I lost half my crop because of weather all in the same year. And that was the year after was when we started the chips. But it happened in 1986, 1987. The burning of the house was really dramatic, I think, for all of us. Now I know how somebody feels was just when they say they've just got the coat on their back, because that's all I had in the pickup truck behind the seat when it was all over. But the community was really good. That was a good part of the whole thing.
They responded after our fire with fundraisers and donations of clothing and toys for the kids, and even food. We had nothing. We had what was in I had what was in my car and what Bill had in his pickup truck, and that was all we had. And the community of New Lowell, they gathered together some furniture and found us a place to stay.
The Kerrs have never forgotten, and they give back by supporting kids' baseball teams and other charities. Vickie wants to put child find posters on her delivery trucks.
In a couple of places, sort of a negative thing.
She didn't foresee the extent of her success. As a housewife and mother, at first she wasn't sure how to deal with the corporate world.
I wasn't sure that I would be able to deal with adults for, you know, on a business level even. I didn't have the confidence. But dealing with banks, especially ones that refused me, I think it really made me more determined than actually have the confidence. The negative reactions sparked my Irish fighting spirit, or whatever you want to call it, and it made me more determined to succeed, I think. So I've learned that about myself, that if there's a problem or a challenge, I would like to handle it.
Vickie always intended to sell only to the local market and used to drive from town to town delivering product herself. The phenomenal demand for her chips amazed her. She has set up distribution systems in British Columbia and Quebec, as well as Ontario. She doesn't want to compete with the big brands. She's found her own market niche. Her employees work 4 10-hour days a week. That, too, is part of her corporate philosophy.
When Miss Vickie's first started, we only had one product and one size of a package. And because of our customer demand, we've created more products. But we do try to keep things simple. Our ingredients in our product are simple. The guideline that we run our business by, that our family is first and our business is important, but our families come first, is pretty simple. And we like to be able to deal in simple ways with our customers, too. We believe that if we offer our customers the best quality and the best service, that we will be able to succeed. And that's pretty simple.
Vickie and Bill are a real team, bringing their separate talents to this exciting venture they've created. Bill had to give up his secure contracts with the big chip producer to support his wife's venture. He did it willingly and wholeheartedly.
My husband has given me a lot of encouragement and support, and always being there when everybody else said no. And reinforced the fact that if it was easy, then everybody would be doing it. And I guess I've learned to overcome obstacles that before I probably would have shrugged and turned my back on and said, that's just too hard. Nobody will change this, or nobody will be able to accomplish this. It just isn't done. And I found out that if you work away at it, things will change, things will happen. I think that the more difficult things have become, and the deeper down I have to go for an inner strength, I found that it's there, and it's really something that I didn't know that I possessed.
Vickie certainly knows how to make things happen. No doubt she will continue to surprise herself and the rest of us.